Welcome to Redfracture TV. As always, I'm your host, Sean Chappell. This is the 17th entry in my video journal, but I'm not quite sure what that really means because as I continue on my journey towards entrepreneurial bliss, I'm starting to lose track of my days and my times. But this is a good thing. This is what I was actually looking forward to. Kitty often lost track of what day of the week it was, and I envied her lack of being beholden to a set schedule or someone else's regimen or having to worry about the work week and the weekend. My days are just my days, and it's great. But please, let me be clear. This doesn't mean that I'm not scheduling my days or getting my work done or getting to my meetings on time. It just means that I'm feeling rather fluid in my responsibilities and where I put my time, and I'm really starting to love it. Last week was a bit of a funny week. A bit of painting, a bit of website rework, a meetup to discuss the local, a Shopify pop-up store opening in April, and then some things were canceled because of the dreaded coronavirus. But there was one thing of note that took place. So here's the big news from last week. We had another rousing day of test play for Honey Palm, this time in Hamilton. Two venues opened their doors to us, Board Game Central, a retailer in Jackson Square, and then Mancala, a board game cafe a little east of Board Game Central. We hit up one and then bounced right to the other, making for a rather ambitious day of test play. Board Game Central is a really nice shop, and I mean like a really nice shop with a lot of selection when it comes to tabletop gaming, including board games, card games, party games, dice sets, and even miniatures. They really cater to all sectors of the gaming community. Surprising us again, joining us for the entire day was Scott, the S from BS Games, another development group that I connected up with at ProtoTO back in September. While there, we were able to engage a few groups to test play Honey Bomb, and we received some interesting feedback. Zoltan, who works at the shop, suggested putting writing on the cards, such as drone or worker, giving them a written designation instead of just being color-coded. Another player suggested putting together a legend card, something that could be passed out to all players as a quick reference outlining the abilities of all the cards. Both were great suggestions, and we're going to adopt the legend card idea and test out a couple of layouts, putting words on the cards to see if we like the design element or not. At 2:45, we packed up and ran hurriedly to get to Mancala. Mental note, don't book appointments back to back unless people are coming to you. Coming out of the parking garage at Jackson Square, we got completely turned around in a system of one-way streets, pulled a U-ey, found our street, went the wrong way down it, pulled another U-ey, and then finally got back on track to Mancala. Scott beat us there. Mancala surprised us as to how busy it was. Matt, the very gracious owner, even said it was unusually busy for that time of day. When we walked in, we were greeted by a wall of noise, laughter, and fun. A wall of board games, like everyone under the sun, 1,000 games. A cozy atmosphere, and a menu of food and drinks that were really appealing. Kitty and I both had turkey club sandwiches. And then a brownie. We were happy that there were healthy food choices, but they also had a lot of junk food for the aspiring diabetic. Again, we set ourselves up at a couple of tables, engaged people to test play Honey Bomb. Bill got a chance to play, as did Scott, and even the owner, Matt, took a moment out of his busy schedule to partake in Honey Bomb. Funnily enough, one of Scott's teacher connections from his gig as a substitute teacher showed up with her son, and the two of them played as well. And then, last but not least, our good friend Jen Frankel came out to support us, and she even played the game. When we set these things up, we're never really sure of who we're going to get, or even if we're going to get. But that Saturday, the turnout was excellent. Again, we received some interesting feedback. Two people suggested that specialty cards could be stockpiled and used near the end of the game to give an unfair advantage to one player, and maybe we needed a rule denying that strategy, and another suggested putting symbols on the cards to assist people with color blindness. We have since discussed both of these suggestions, and we found the former a valid strategy for winning the game, and we will not be making a rule against stockpiling specialty cards. And we think we can solve the colorblind issue by putting words on the cards, as suggested by Zoltan from Board Game Central. Again, we're going to have to do some designing and see what we like. All told, it was a great success, but exhausting. Try talking and rambling about board games for 7 hours straight and see if you don't need a nap. We're getting closer to making Honey Bomb a reality, and we're sticking to our goal of kickstarting the project in May. It still feels a little tight, but we have to let the project out into the world eventually. More on that soon. Build yourself a quote wall. What's a quote wall, you may ask? It's simply that, a wall of motivational quotes to jumpstart your intentions and keep you focused on what you're trying to achieve. I started building Kitty and I quote wall years ago, before I decided to jump ship and run Redfracture full time. There are other people out there who have done amazing, inspiring things, and they have wisdom to impart. Rather than trying to keep all those things in my head, I decided to print them out and hang them up. We now have a very respectable quote wall, and I often choose one that is pertinent to our circumstances and hang it on the fridge to give us a boost when we need to keep on track. Many of the quotes that I found are from my own life, from music that I've heard, movies that I've watched, talks that I've listened to, or books that I've read. A few I found online. Actors, artists, authors, musicians, a whole host of creatives who have persevered in the face of great odds and made their dreams a reality. A lot of them really spoke to me when I discovered them and were another drop in the bucket of my motivation to lead my life my way. If you're going to pursue the making of a quote wall, I would suggest the former approach rather than the latter. Pull from things in your daily life that are pertinent to your circumstances and your goals. Don't go fishing on the internet too much for inspirational quotes. A lot of what you find might speak to your circumstances, but I don't think that the interpersonal connection is as strong as something you've actually had the experience of interacting with. These should be as deeply personal as possible to achieve maximum motivation. One of my faves is from the Struts. One of my biggest fears is looking back on my life with regret that I didn't achieve my goals because I never made the attempt. I don't want to look back and say, it could have been me. Build a quote wall. Make it personal, make it visible, and then use it to motivate you towards greatness. For now, that is all. Thanks for watching.